It's my distinct pleasure to be the first speaker today at our first CXMids conference. As I've just it's described to you, my name's Naeem Arif. I'm known as the customer first enabler because I work with my clients to help them get that customer first attitude. And that's what I'm going to try and talk to you today for about 20 minutes. Customer first is part of the tool set that we have at NAConsulting. And it's something that is really at the heart of everything we do. We talk about business strategies that help deliver an amazing customer experience. So customer first is really central to what we do. So just very quickly, a little bit about myself. I've written a number of books. I'm a certified customer experience professional, which a lot of those speakers today are. I was named as the 4th most influential CX professional in Europe by CX Magazine this year. I've just recently been appointed on the Forbes Business Council, so you'll see some of my contributions and articles coming out soon. And of course, I'm a consultant. I work with brands. I work with brands big and small, work with individuals, and we do small group coaching as well. But the interesting thing, and the thing that sets me apart, is that at the same time as being a consultant, I'm also a business owner. I'm really proud to say that we have a carpet retail business, which we've had that for 15 years. Before that, we've had hospitality businesses, restaurants, and retail as well. So a lot of my experience and expertise comes within the retail and the hospitality sector, although I do work with other companies as well. And some of the clients that I've worked with include some really well-known global brands, and more recently we've worked with a lot of smaller brands as well. And I've got to say, whereas you can do some big, massive things with the bigger brands, some of the smaller brands are a lot more exciting and interesting, and you can really get to know the business owners in a lot of detail, and that brings its own level of excitement. So I've said, I talk a lot about having a customer first mindset, and we sort of split that into 3 things. The first part is having that business strategy around being a customer first business, talking about how to convert and retain your customers through doing things which really resonate with your customers and attune to the ways of working and ways of thinking. We talk about giving an amazing customer experience. And we also talk about having a leadership, a culture in your organisation, which is going to supplement that and which really drives excellence in terms of how you run your business and also how you help and support your customers. And, those are 3 of the books that I've been involved with, and they really underpin my methodology. And in terms of that methodology, that mindset, we talk about everything that you do should be all about your customer. And when I say that, I mean everything about your company, your vision, mission, values, the culture you have, the standards that you put in place, the way you look after your employees, the way you engage your employees, the stories, the messages, the whole brand piece as well. So you can see there's 3 sets of layers there, but everything that you do in your company should be about your customer. And at the bottom level here, the vision, mission, values, those are sort of very strategic ways of thinking and operating. At the top here is your customer facing aspects, the stories that people tell about you, the messages you put out, the communications and marketing, brand promise, the brand voice. And the sandwich in the middle, the thing that really makes this work is the culture of your company, how your employees feel about working for you and with you, and those customer service standards that you put in place. And that put together is how we put together a customer first mindset. And typically, when we start putting together a customer journey map, we talk about the stages, which a lot of other people do as well. Awareness building, prospecting, creating a trialist customer, creating a customer, and then the advocacy stage is really important because we really focus on those last 2 circles. We want people to not only buy from us once, but we want them to repeat buy from us as well. And whilst we can always have a lot of thoughts and a lot of time spent on putting this journey together. I really want to focus in today's conversation about these two areas over here. And the reason why is because when we look at this circle over here, what do we see? So just drop into the chat box for me what you think's going on over here, please. Yep, so just put a word into the chat box for, yeah, okay, thank you, there we go. So we've got transaction, cash, goal. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I was seeing alcohol as well, I think, yeah, that's right. So what we're seeing here, what you said is typically the kind of things I hear a lot about. But what I really want you to think about, and for the purpose of this talk today, is that this is a moment of truth for this company and for this customer. And at this point, when we get to that transaction, if you look into that customer's eyes, that lady's eyes, what you're actually selling and buying, and we're seeing an exchange of trust. And when I say trust, I mean, you know, this business has promised something, and that customer has some aspirations which aren't just the transaction they're completing, but what it actually is that she's giving you her trust in terms of this is what this is what I want to buy from you. This is what I want to achieve from you. And that trust, this is a point in time when that trust is being tested and that trust is being won, and you're being given that customer's trust. And it's now time for you to ensure that what you do meets that trust, because no matter how many journeys you create and how much clever marketing and everything else you do, this is now going to be that moment of truth. And instead of thinking about this as a transaction, I want to see it as the start of a relationship where trust is being given and you then deliver on that trust. So we did an exercise with one of our boutique hotel clients in Birmingham. And we picked a group of clients, some were new customers and some were existing customers. And what we tried to do is we tried to get an understanding of what impact on that customer's trust every action we did had. And we try to work out that, you know, how do we build trust up? Because this trust, this winning of trust and sharing of trust starts from the moment before someone gets to know you, when they then walk into your business, whether that's online or whether that's in person, whatever it is, that level of trust has started now. And what we have to think about is, how do we get that level of trust from this point where I don't know you along the way? And as you can see on the curve, there's big jumps, you know, there's big trust points. How can we get them all the way to the top? And at that point, we can see that person, that customer now completely trusts you. And it's important we want to get right to the top, because once we've got to the top and they trust us, something amazing happens. You know, most companies are humans and can make mistakes. But when I completely trust you and you make a mistake, I also trust you to fix that mistake. And that's the point we want to try and get to. If we can get to that point with our customers, and if we can think of our customers' journeys, if we think our customer journeys of not just an exchange of cash or an exchange of goods and services, if we can start thinking about that as an exchange of trust, then I think we'll have a completely different attitude to the way in which we treat our customers and the way in which we set up to engage with them and look after them. And, you know, this is a core message that we have in the customer first principle. And let me share with you a few more, because obviously we've only got a bit of time today. So let me share with you a few more of those principles. So I'm going to share with you, the first one we're going to share today is just remembering what comes first. Is it, as we can see on the left-hand side, someone trying to sell something, or is it on the right-hand side, someone wants to buy something? What comes first? And you can have an amazing product, but if no one wants to buy that product, then the product's worthless. So always remember that we've got to start with a customer who has a problem and they've got a need and want to buy something. And people will buy, invariably, problems that they have. So if you've got something that you're selling and it doesn't fix one of my problems, it's likely that no one's going to buy your product, even though your product might be amazing. The next thing I want to talk about today is being more customer focused than being customer centric. And some of my colleagues today will talk to you about what it means to be customer centric. And I'm not trying to say it's not important to be customer centric, but what I do want to say is that there's a slight difference if you want to become a customer first organization. So let me give some examples. It's not about how much more I can get from my customers. It's about how much we can do for my customers. So how much more value will be for my customers. It's not about finding more customers for my products. It's about finding more products that suit my customers. And it's not about having multiple transactions with hundreds of different people. It's about building relationships that deliver over a long period of time. And this one's really important because repeat business, referral business is a big part of customer first. And what we want to do is we want to have lots and lots of repeat transactions, lots and lots of referral transactions, rather than constantly investing loads of money in marketing and be on the constant lookout for new people. What we want to be doing is we want to be in a position where we are constantly repeat selling to our existing customers and repeat selling to people who we've been referred to. It's about understanding what our customers really want as opposed to what we're trying to sell to them. You know, and the example I use a lot, so one of my businesses is United Carpets, as I mentioned before. And, you know, we realize that when people come to us, they actually don't necessarily just come to us because they like buying carpets. They're actually coming to us because they're decorating their bedroom or their lounge. And actually what they want to do is they want to enjoy the experience of that room when it's finished. So we need to understand that. And instead of tricking them or confusing them or showing them more things that they need, we want to try and help them make the right decision for them without overcomplicating it or mis-selling what we're trying to do. The next thing is that people who come to a restaurant to eat come to have that restaurant experience. And they didn't necessarily come to be ushered around or to queue up outside or to not understand the menu or to be ignored or to wait to pay for their bill. They came for a particular reason. It could be a birthday, it could be an anniversary, it could be their one night out in the week when they've been working really hard. You know, and you really need to understand really why your customers have come to you. And again, let me go back to the carpet business. They didn't come to walk down aisles and aisles of carpet, go through a complicated buying procedure. They came to actually finish off the decoration of their room or whatever else they're doing. Now, one more thing I want to say on this one is that sometimes part of the experience can be, you know, making someone wait, or can be someone having to have a complicated process. And I get that, but just think, is that really fit for purpose? We talk about friction in customer experience a lot. So is that friction part of the experience giving a positive result, or is that friction just giving a negative result? And if it is a negative result, will your customer simply just go somewhere else in the future? So the customer experience starts with the employee experience. And again, some of the colleagues today in the rest of the presentations will talk about this a lot. But let's put this really simple. If you treat your employees well, if you give them a lot of benefits, look after them, keep them happy, then they're going to be in a much better position to do the same for your customers. Now, if you think your employees are terrible, if it's difficult for them to come to work, if they're having challenges, problems, if they don't feel valued, what kind of mood and attitude do you think they will take to their customers when they're customer facing? And I won't go into this one in more detail. There's a lot of people today speaking about this, so I will let them go into this in more details. Prevention is better than cure is is such an obvious one that people get massively wrong. It's better to fix something which is bad in your customer service, in your customer delivery, in your engagement, than let it happen and have a fix for it. So again, I'll give you a carpet example. We've been in the business for 15 years now, and typically when you buy a carpet, you need to get your room ready for fitting, you need to get the old carpet out, move the furniture and things like this. And this is a standard for absolutely every other carpet retailer in the world, or in the country. Let's just say in the country, I don't know about other countries. So in the UK, if you're buying a carpet, you need to get those things ready and in place. We were never trained in this way, but we kept finding that lots of customers were turning around and saying to us, you know, we didn't realize that we've got to get our room ready. We didn't realize that you don't take the old carpets away. Now, rather than have that difficult conversation later, we decided we'll have that difficult conversation up front. Because all that was happening is that we were giving a great service in store, then we were going out to installation, and customers were feeling let down. And that trust was dropping off. Whereas if we had the conversation up front, where we're in store, we had the opportunity to fix that, to rectify that, to do something else with the customer, and we're fixing that on site, rather than giving an opportunity for that experience to sour later on, and for our customers to feel like we'd let them down. And the last one I'm going to talk about in this section is that process efficiency benefits everyone, especially your customers. And that's what we're here for. If you've got a process or a complicated situation where for a customer to get something done, it's really hard, it's not so easy, there's a lot of friction, then your customers will probably just go somewhere else in the future. And this is the point we made earlier. If you can work efficiently, make it easy for your customers to buy, to get an update on their order, or if you can make it easy for you to help your customers, then you'll be able to deliver a better service to them overall, because they will look at the customer experience as the complete engagement. You know, if you've sold something to them and then later on they've got to get an update in the order and they're speaking to someone on the phone and they say, I don't know what your status is, I need to pass you to another department, or if there's a complaint or a query, and all these things become really complicated, that your customers are probably going to think, you know what, I won't bother next time, I'll go somewhere else. So internally, have an efficient process in place, which means that you can react to customers quickly and you can deliver a better experience for them. So that was my slot, and talked about what having a customer first attitude was about. And as you can see, everything I've said really talks about thinking that let's fashion our business in a way that we can make it really easy for our customer to get what they want, which is the service they came to pay for. And three things I want you to take away from what I've said is that people will remember how you made them feel much longer than how much they paid for your service. So if you can make them feel special, make them feel wanted, they will remember that much longer than how much they actually paid for your service. Don't chase turnover, chase happy customers. Because if you can have happy customers, then the money will come itself. You won't need to worry about that. And then the next thing is to recruit on attitude and promote on results. So when we're talking about recruiting, we're talking about the situation where you get the right staff who've got the right attitude and are not just there to collect money, but are there with you to live your brand promise and your brand experience that you're trying to give to your customers. And when they do a good job, promote them on their results. Don't just promote them on the time that they spent working for your company. So my name's Naeem Arif. I'm the CEO and founder of NAConsulting. We work with a number of small and large companies, as I said earlier, and we work on these things. We work on helping you get a customer first strategy, deliver an amazing experience, and have the right leadership and culture in your organization to make all of that happen. Now, if there's anything I can help you with from this presentation or anything else, I would be more than happy to have a chat with you. If you pop over to our website, you can easily book a call with us. So that would be absolutely fine. I'd love to learn more about your businesses. So I'll stop there and let me change this now to see if we have any questions. Just bear with me a second. Okay, there they are in the Q&A. Yeah, okay, right, here we go. So first question. Oh, I don't think I can share my screen on this, can I? Let's see. Right, Christopher Brooks. Hi, Chris. How do you win over a CEO to make them more focused on the customer? So thanks, Chris, for your question. So I always turn this into a return on investment conversation. I find that CEOs especially, if you can show them that having a better attitude to your customers by delivering a better customer experience, if you can have less complaints, that's less waste of time. If you can have more repeat customers, if you can have more referred customers, then that's having a bottom line answer. And the other one is that repeat customers are 60% more profitable than new customers. So you can see your marketing for new customers will come down a little bit because you get more referrals, and that's the kind of stuff that I would normally work about. Next question is from Hannah Foley. Hello, Hannah. What's a great customer experience you've had recently? So I'm going to talk about two here. I'm going to talk about Next and Argos, and I think they're both doing a really good customer experience on the retail side. With Argos, with Next, you can browse online, check stock, go into the store, buy something, try something on, order overnight. They can deliver it to your home. And if you can't get out, if you're on the bus or the train, you can order your stuff and it gets delivered in 24 hours. That's really good because it combines the online and the in-store experience. And Argos take that a little bit further, with the click and collect. And I really think that's the one that we really want to focus on, particularly in the retail experience, that being able to combine that in-store and in-person experience. I think that's another really good example of how to do that. So, Brand, to your question, Brand's got a question there. Net Promoter, right? Okay, so Brand's asking about Net Promoter Score, and my opinion on this, and I've said it a couple of times, is I like Net Promoter Score because it tells me if someone thought my service was great. Good, tick. We've got a good Net Promoter Score. But what I actually want them to do is I actually want them to not only give me a good Net Promoter Score, I want them to repeat buy and refer by. So I'm always talking about measuring repeat purchase rate, measuring referral rate. I think those are really important as well. And for me, you've got to use loyalty card schemes, loyalty vouchers, referral schemes with your customers in order to really turn that really good service, that high Net Promoter Score, into profit and turnover. And so for me, yes, Net Promoter Score is really important, but combine Net Promoter Score with other metrics, and for me, really drive the repeat purchase. That's what I would like to mention. Okay, so the next question is from Narinda. Hi, Narinda. How do you get your foot in the door how do you get your foot in the door if someone's buying for the first time and they can't experience your customer service? So Narinda runs a opticians business, and they're focusing a lot on going out to people's houses rather than getting them to come in to their opticians. It's a good question because one of my colleagues is going to talk about this later on in terms of how to get that marketing strategy, how to get your SEO, how to create some FOMO into social media. So Meg King's going to talk about that, and Dave Kahn's going to talk about it later. But from a simple point of view, it's about creating that brand. It's about the experience starting from before you do your visit. And the experience starts when they visit your website, maybe they see your social media. So there's a lot of things there that they're going to see and experience before they actually step in store with you. So for me, that's where it starts. And pay attention to the 2 sessions later from the other guys. And just remember, whilst they talk about the social media and the marketing side, the experience is end to end. So they can have a good experience or a feel for a good experience when they talk to you on the phone, if it's easy to book in, if they think your website looks good and professional. So there's lots of these little things you can put into place. Okay, I'm going to stop there. There's a couple more questions, but I think those are questions that other people can handle. Let me now pass you on to our next session.